The name of my game is Spirit Warriors, the Lakota Indians. Kind of the background of this game is to incorporate Lakota myths or beliefs into our curriculum, since that is one area we are weak in. So to begin, students are separated into groups of 4. They may choose those groups as they wish. There is a script that is read to the students, and that is in my written document. But the materials that we will need will be Google Drive for collaboration, Schoology to show and mark student progress. I will use the student completion portion of Schoology in order to, once they've completed a task, then the next one will open and they will be able to move at their own pace. They will also need to use Google Earth. Students will also need the use of a QR code reader. So there are 3 different phases. Once the groups are set, the first phase is titled Myth or Legend. They are given 5 different journal entries. They probably will not be numbered, but students have to read those journal entries, find key words to research in order to put those journals in chronological order. By completing that, they have completed phase 1 and then will be moved into phase 2, which is a search and discover. Through their research in phase 1, they will have learned that the number 4 is very important to Lakota people. And so they will have 5 different equations at the beginning of phase 2 that they will have to solve. 2 of those equations, shown here on the screen, have the solution of 4, since 4 is a very important number for Lakota people. Once they kind of realize that pattern, those 2 solutions with the number 4, they will QR code those and come up with 2 coordinates. Those 2 coordinates will point them to the wind cave in the Black Hills that is known as the place of birth for the Lakota people, which will also introduce the Lakota creation myth that we will be reading through this game as well. So once they solve the equations, they get the QR codes, they find the wind cave, they read the myth, their next goal then is to open the cave, so to speak. But in order to do that, they need to solve a logic puzzle, which will be the end of phase 2. Once they solve the logic puzzle, that will move them into phase 3, and which is called eradication. By opening up the secret part of the wind cave, they have now released this new virus into the air. And keeping along with the 1800s, we'll probably be using smallpox, cholera, some of those viruses that were introduced by white men into the Indian population. And so one student out of each group will be infected, so to say, and they will be quarantined into another room. Now they have to problem solve how are they going to communicate with that team member in the other room and still keep them a part of their group. What happens through this phase is every 20 minutes a new member is infected, and so their group steadily gets smaller and smaller, and so now they're either faced with having to regroup in their classrooms where they are, or continue with the original group that they've come up with. Some of the additional play options will be spy cards, sick cards, and help cards. At the beginning, there will be various students who are chosen as spies, and they can play the game however they want, gathering information by eavesdropping, talking to other members of the group. The sick cards reveal the symptoms, starting off very generalized at first and steadily getting more specific as more group members are quarantined. And then help cards, there are allowed 3 help cards throughout the entire game, but once they've used those, then they are done. The badges go along also with the Lakota belief. There's generosity, wisdom, fortitude, kinship. At the end of each phase, it will be given a quarter of the circle. And then at the end of the game, I would like to somehow incorporate that dream catcher and maybe come up with some dream catcher keychains to give the kids as rewards for becoming true Lakota warriors. I would also like to have the use of a leaderboard to show students and to motivate them to continue to do well and keep moving through the game.